Today, I'm going to show you the most useful features of multi-edit in the context of this web design project we did for our Figma course. Multi-edit is a huge time saver, especially when you're in the exploration and iteration phase where you have a lot of just slightly different variations of your designs, and maybe you want to make a change across all of them, but you don't have components set up yet. It also is really helpful for staying organized and renaming your layers. Today, we're going to go over how to select matching layers, how to apply different transformations to layers across multiple frames, and how multi-edit affects things like components and variants to save us tons of time and help us stay organized. Let's dive into it. So first, let's talk about how to select matching layers in the first place. So let's just use as an example these pills. So we have these across multiple pages here. So I'm going to go in and just click on this blush one. You can see there's an icon at the top left here that says, if you hover over it, it says select matching layers. So let's click on that and see what happened. Okay, that's great. It just selected on all of the, like blush colored ones. So what happens if we go in and select all of these and then click this button? Now we've actually selected all of them. So if we wanted to make a change across all of the pills, then we could do that. A shortcut to this, so let's just select one of them. We'll do this camel colored one. A shortcut is to do Command Option A. So we can see now we have selected on all of these camel colored ones. That's how we select them. Now, how do we actually make these transformations? Now, once they're selected, we can make transformations, which I'll show you in a moment, but we can also do something cool. We can rename all of these layers at once. So to do that, I'm just clicking Command R, and this window will pop up. So we can rename this from color pill to, let's just call it color selector. And that will rename all of them. And of course, it would be better for this if we selected all of these, Option Command A, Command R, and changed all of these to color selector, not just the one color. So that's perfect and saves tons and tons of time, especially if you don't really get into the habit of naming your layers, which is true for a lot of us. I feel like naming your layers can be a waste of time sometimes. But then if you want to go back and name your layers to get more organized once a project is coming together, then that's a really easy way to do it. Okay, so now what if I am sort of riffing on this section here? So I have a bunch of different sort of layouts here for this about section, but what if I, on all of these layouts, maybe I even have 10, 20 different layouts here, just showing 3 as an example, but it would take a long time to, let's say, make this logo bigger on every single one by one. So this is a really good opportunity to use multi-edit. So I'm gonna go in here, I'm going to select on this. We can go up here and click select matching layers. I can also do my shortcut, Command Option A, and we've selected all of these here. So that's great. Now, something else cool is when you scale this, let's watch what happens. It's actually scaling on every single one, just like the first one. It's sort of just mirroring my action on this to all of them. So let's see, let's like really get in there, see what we want to do. I think something like that looks better, maybe a little smaller. I think something like that looks a lot better. So now you can see that without any hassle, we've just changed the size on all of these different frames. Now, what about something like color? So let's go in, I'm gonna do Command click so that I kind of click on this background frame here. We can see that we're using this off black color for it. Then I'm going to go up and select similar elements, and we're going to change this from the off black, maybe to the burnt orange. And so you can do transformations like that, tons of different ways to really save time across multiple frames. Another thing I want to show you is changing text. This is kind of life-changing, especially like if you've misspelled something multiple times and you want to go in and change it, or if you just want to change the text on a button. So I'm going to select on this button, find similar layers, and I'm going to hit T. And by hitting T, I can then go in and then choose one of these. So let's see, chosen this one, and let's see what happens when we start typing. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to again command click so that I'm selecting on the text box inside of this button. And I'm going to select matching layers. And then here you can see that we've gotten this option to do multi-edit text. So if I click on that, or if I click T on my keyboard, then it's going to let us come in here. You can see that now these are sort of like dotted line outline telling us that those are going to be affected. So let's say instead of contact us, I want it to say learn more. Then it's changing on all of these, which is really awesome. While we're in here, we can also change the font size. So we can go in here and let's say instead of 14, I actually want to make this 18. I want to make it a lot bigger. There we go. We can change that across these different frames as well. So what if I want to paste an element into a nested frame on multiple frames? I think I want to put something like this sort of underline or divider line inside here underneath the logo. So I'm just going to hit Command C on my keyboard. I'm going to select this nested frame, go up and select matching layers. Then I'm going to do Command V, and we've just pasted it into all of these. And so then we can even click and drag it up. You can change it from fixed to just fill container. And that's happening on all of these artboards at the same time. And this works not just on frames, it also works on variants of a component, which is really cool. So I'm going to come on over here to these variants and I'm going to do multi-edit variants. So I'm going to come over to this thumbnail component here. And as you can see, I have a option here to do multi-edit variants. So I'm going to click on that. The shortcut for that is Q once you've selected on that component. And so now let's say I wanted to add an icon to all of these different variants. There's 6 of these. So it would take me 6 times as long to add it all 6 times. I just want to do it once. So I'm going to go into my assets panel. I'm going to find an icon and I'm just going to drag it right into here. And similar to the last example, we can then start moving it around and, changing anything we'd like about it. And it's going to transform uniformly across all of these different variants. The last thing I want to show you is how you can actually make something into a component using multi-edit. So we're going to go back down to here. Now, at the moment, this logo is not a component. So what if we wanted to make it a component? What if we're sort of like getting to that phase of our project where we know this is going to be the final logo and we know we want to have it across our project? I want to make it a component. So we could just make it a component and then copy an instance of it and paste it back into all of these. But a much easier way to do this where we don't have to like backtrack on work is to select matching layers. And then here we're going to create a component. And so when we did that, what it did was it pulled out the main component right here. It's hard to see when my background is so light. It automatically pulled out the main component outside of all of these frames and it made each of these an instance. So you can see it's an instance because it's got a purple outline. We'll go into the layers panel. You can see it's got a diamond here. That's an instance of a component. So you don't have to double back and copy a new instance and then paste it into all of these. It just did it for you. And so now, just like any other component, we could change the color of this and it's going to update across here, or we could just change it on the instance level and it's only going to change on that one instance. So that is super, super helpful. Really helps you stay organized and save tons of time. And that's the basics of multi-editing in Figma. Like I mentioned, I like to use this a lot when either I forgot to create components or I just haven't created components yet or don't feel it's necessary, but still want to make changes across multiple different elements. It also, as you can see, comes with some really interesting transformation properties that just make life a lot easier whenever you're designing in Figma. Feel free to check out the in-depth Figma course for web designers where we created this responsive web design from scratch. Also, that course will be linked in the description box below. And thanks so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.